Hey, what's up, everybody? I just want to jump on and do a quick breakdown on my take of what's going on with the Libertarian Party, the convention, Libertarians going woke, picking the wrong guy, and Dave Smith disappointing everybody. I'm half joking, half serious. So for me, I'm a Libertarian by nature. I'm not part of the party anymore. I don't pay the dues. I did in the past. I don't anymore, thank God. But I do have Libertarian values. I got into this whole thing with the Ron Paul movement back in the day and trying to spread the ideas of liberty and all of that type of stuff. So earlier this year, when Dave Smith hinted that he was going to run for president, I was pretty excited about that. He inevitably pulled out and did not do that. I don't want to pile on and blame Dave too much here because I'm a big fan of his. I love his show and everything, but he's publicly came out and said it was his fault. So, I mean, I think it's fair game to kind of comment on and discuss. So basically, the Libertarian National Convention just happened. Libertarians went woke and picked some guy named Chase Oliver. I don't really know him very well. I looked into him now that he won the nomination, and I can't say I would vote for him. Apparently, he is for mandates, open borders, and transitioning children. A bunch of things that I would not want to vote for. So I think he goes against pretty much all of the values of the Libertarian Party, and it's kind of crazy that a woke candidate won after this much of a buildup of the Libertarian Party takeover and everything that we saw the last year. So what happened was Dave Smith formed an alliance with some other people, and they started the Mises Caucus, and they kind of took over the Libertarian Party. They were on track to potentially get their person nominated for president and kind of advance the ideas of liberty on a mainstream stage in a big way. Now, when Dave Smith pulled out of the presidency or the run for presidency, a lot of people left, a lot of people got disappointed, and ultimately it failed. The takeover failed. So even as Dave has said here, he just put up an episode of Part of the Problem, which I'm going to play a clip from, but he admits that the takeover failed, and it's kind of sad, actually, because he talks about in the beginning of it how he was part of the Ron Paul revolution and the liberty movement, and eventually that failed, and then the Mises Caucus came back to kind of reignite the liberty movement and get people excited again. And it's sad because now this movement failed also. So I can't blame them. I mean, they did a crazy great job of putting everything together and getting as far as they did. I just think it's nearly impossible to make one of these movements last and actually accomplish the goal. Once a movement gets so big, you're always going to get co-opted. There's always going to be intelligence agents that get involved and divide and conquer and destroy the whole movement. The powers that be are never going to let one of these movements get to a mainstream stage. That's just the way it is, in my opinion. I'm not saying Chase Oliver is, a Fed or anything like that, but I'm saying no matter what, they would have got in there and divided everybody and stopped the movement from actually getting anywhere. So anyway, that's kind of where it's at and where I'm coming from with it. I think it's tough to say because like I said, I like Dave Smith a lot. Love Part of the Problem. Watch it all the time. He's great. If he would have ran, I would have voted for him. But even if he did run, we all know he wouldn't have won anyways. It would have been a protest vote, and we would have just done it to feel good about ourselves. So it's not really the end of the world either way. I think it was a big missed opportunity on his part, and he kind of probably lost a lot of fans or credibility in some people's eyes. I don't blame him completely. He said he backed out for family reasons, which is totally understandable. But the matter of the fact is he probably did make a lot of people really disappointed and upset here. Now, this Chase Oliver guy, I don't even know where to start with that. There's a lot of people covering him online right now. I'm not going to jump in and trash talk him too bad, but basically he's a no-go for me on the voting. It's just insane that the Libertarians went woke after this big effort of a takeover this whole time, and then they couldn't pull it off right at the last minute. Very, very sad, very disappointing. But oh well, it's politics. You can't put all of our hope into politicians and political parties anyways. It never works out. It's just kind of something to be passively interested in my opinion, at this point. So I want to pull up a couple things here in a second and look at Dave's clip from Part of the Problem where he apologized and kind of discuss what he's saying here. One other thing that I thought was really interesting is everybody's kind of assuming like all the libertarians are going to vote for Trump now because there's a woke libertarian nominee. I don't know why everybody's flocking to Trump and nobody's talking about maybe RFK Jr. I mean, I know people hate RFK because his Israel stance, but guess what? Trump has the same stance on Israel, so you're not going to get any better with Trump. They're both owned by Israel, but at least RFK Jr. is way better on the COVID regime and the policies and the vaccines and all that stuff. He is a much better option, in my opinion, at this point. I'm not going to say that I'm voting for either of them, frankly. I don't even know what or who to vote for, or at all. I don't even know if I will vote at all. I was really interested in RFK earlier before he came out and declared his undying love for Israel. But I think he's good on the rest of his policies, so I think he's probably the best option. I just think it's funny that everybody says, I won't vote for RFK because he supports Israel, but then they still will go and support Trump when Trump is the same way. Kind of crazy. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. Right now, we're just going to get into this Dave Smith issue and look at, here's a clip from Part of the Problem with Dave Smith talking about the takeover and his apology.
I'm really trying throughout this to, number one, not be a sore loser, and number two, take the blame for this, because I do think this is on me. And I see people putting blame on Heiss and Rechtenwald, and I just don't think that's right. I don't think these guys did anything wrong. It was me. I was the one who was planning on running and made that known. I got people excited for that, and I was the one who pulled out of that. You know, I didn't exactly promise them that I was going to run, but I certainly led people to believe that because I was planning on doing it. There were different periods. Like, there was a period when I was considering it. There was a period when I was like, look, I really don't want to do this, but if no one else better is going to do it, then I'm going to do it. And then there was a point where I was like, all right, I don't think anyone else who will do a better job is going to step up, so I'm going to have to do this. Anyway, all of that being said, I have to acknowledge the reality of the situation, and that is that the takeover failed. And you know, it's not as if it failed in some monumental way. It was really just the one thing we lost, but it happened to be the biggest thing, and it's all that matters. You know, even I'll say this, okay, because I wanted to mention this. Going into Sunday, going into the presidential elections, even though I had implored the Libertarians to not behave in the way that they had, and even though I was kind of disgusted by the manner in which they heckled. I just found it classless. And again, Trump's a war criminal. He's a terrible president. He's all these things. I'm not against, it's not that I'm saying we got to be nice to him. I'm just saying it's to understand that you just don't want to be that. There's a different way to do it. But I wake up in the morning and all of the headlines, I mean, we were in every goddamn media publication in the world. And it was covered in the New York Times and the Washington Post, in Reuters, in the Associated Press, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, the BBC, all of them. And all of the headlines were different versions of the same thing. Like, Donald Trump makes his case to libertarians, gets booed out of the building. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because when Rechtenwald is the nominee, it's like, oh, you got this kind of right-wing libertarian guy And his party hates Donald Trump. Well, why is that? It'll lead people to ask questions. Well, what is it? What are our gripes with Donald Trump? I go, okay, cool. That could be like massive exposure. This could all work out really good. The problem is that then when the nominee is Chase, it's like, oh, it just answers the question itself. It's like, oh, because you're all a bunch of progressives. That's why you hate Donald Trump. And it's just the whole thing kind of falls apart.
Yeah, so we'll stop it right there. So yeah, a couple things I want to say about that. Really big on him to take the blame and apologize. He admits it's his fault, basically, and very commendable on his behalf there. Sucks that it happened, but they did what they could. They got very close, very far, and things don't work out sometimes. We all know he wouldn't have won anyways. It was just a protest vote, so it's not the end of the world. I see everybody online really, really going hard on him right now, but I mean, just, it's not that big of a deal. He wasn't going to win. He was just going to get up there and kind of get these liberty ideas in the mainstream discussion again. The other thing about that, I'll say, the Rechtenwald candidate guy, I didn't really care about anyways. I mean, even if he would have got the nomination, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal to me. I mean, maybe he was great on policy, but he wasn't exciting. I lost all excitement when Dave stepped out, so even if Rechtenwald would have gotten it, it wouldn't have made that much of a big of a difference to me. And then the Chase guy, I'm definitely not going to vote for. I never even heard of him before this, and now that I know who he is and what he stands for, I would definitely not vote for him. So, I mean, both of those other two candidates really, I don't think would have gotten a lot of votes or really mattered that much anyways. So that's kind of my take on it. I don't see it being that big of a deal either way with those two. So yeah, that's what he did. He apologized on part of the problem. Very commendable. Thank you, Dave. Good job. Very disappointed, obviously, but it is what it is. One other thing I'll pull up here, we got the tweet from him, and he kind of just says the same thing that he did say there. Yeah, the Mises Caucus set out on a mission to bring the Ron Paul revolution into the Libertarian Party and shed the party of goofiness, wokeness, and corruption. That definitely did not happen. It's been an incredibly rewarding journey, and I've met some amazing people who will be lifelong friends along the way. At the last convention in Reno, we swept every position with supermajorities. This weekend, we retained control of the LNC while re-electing Angela McArdle, who is a phenomenal chair, and put on the best convention in the party's history. Unfortunately, we lost the big one, and there's no getting around that. I can't ignore the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room here. This is all my fault. When I was planning on running, there was tremendous enthusiasm and energy amongst our ranks. When I pulled out for family-related reasons, understandable, it pulled the rug out from under our guys, and we were never able to recover. Yeah, basically that's it. I mean, people lost excitement. The movement died. It really sucks, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? He kind of goes on, say a bunch of other stuff, but then we'll just jump down to the end here. I will always support Angela and the Mises Caucus team. Hopefully we accomplish more amazing things in the future. I'm going to continue doing what I do, spreading our ideas to as large an audience as possible in the most compelling way I can. See you soon, Cuomo. Yeah, he has the debate with Chris Cuomo coming up soon, in I think a couple days. It's coming up soon sometime. And I'm looking forward to that. We all know Chris Cuomo is the main propaganda guy behind the COVID regime, all the lies and propaganda, who was on the news every night, lying to everybody and spreading misinformation. And now he's trying to come around to the alternative media side of things and say he's vax injured and we need investigations, and trying to kind of act like a truth teller now. It's so disgusting, so frustrating to see. So I'm really hoping Dave does a good job at holding Chris Cuomo responsible for his crimes against humanity, frankly. And I hope Dave does a better job in the Cuomo debate than he did with the Libertarian Party takeover. I'm just kidding. I know he will. I know he'll do a good job. He's a good debater. So I'm looking forward to that, the Chris Cuomo debate. I just put up a Chris Cuomo anti-vaxxer parody rap here on my channel. You can check out the channel and watch that. I usually do these parody raps on this channel where I joke around about a current event, controversial or conspiratorial topic. And the last one I did was the Chris Cuomo is now an anti-vaxxer, and talking about how he's on ivermectin now, even though he demonized it for years. And just don't even get me started. It's yeah, it's all that stuff. So that is on the channel right now. Chris Cuomo is an anti-vaxxer parody rap. If you want to go check that out, hit subscribe if you want to check out some more of these videos. It's fun to do. I like doing these commentary ones when it's an issue or a topic that I'm interested in or that I care about or that I have some knowledge about. So I'll be doing these parody raps and commentary as often as I can. Thanks for checking out the channel, checking out the video, and I'll see you on the next one. I hope you guys have a good day. Later.